This WBTV high-definition program is sponsored by Time Warner Cable. WBTV News starts right now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Eric Thomas. We have a freezing rain advisory to tell you about. That kicking in later on tonight for a large part of our viewing area. That plus maybe even another winter weather event coming our way later in the forecast period. It's all part of your 7-day First Alert forecast.
Now at 6 o'clock, the many marriages of Elisa Baker. New evidence shows Zara's stepmother had several husbands all at the same time.
But first at 6. It could be the marquee matchup of the General Assembly. The GOP picking a fight with the governor and her way of doing business. It's a balanced budget versus sweet deals for North Carolina-bound companies. Hello, it's good to have you here. I'm Maureen O'Boyle.
And I'm Paul Cameron. Welcome, everyone. Governor Bev Perdue has been known to cut a deal with big businesses, lures them to North Carolina with incentives and tax breaks. But the new Republican-controlled General Assembly says her priorities are out of whack. The state is $3.7 billion in the red, and GOP leaders say it's time to get this budget mess under control. Our business reporter, Melissa Hankins, on your side live tonight at the Chamber of Commerce. Melissa, Republicans, they want the governor to stop throwing so much cash at these companies. Is that what's going to happen?
Well, Paul, you know, I've personally gone live dozens of times outside the chamber right here to break news about companies coming to town with jobs and to tell you all about the incentives given to those companies in order to make those deals happen. But now it looks like the state's job-making machine could be grinding to a halt. Time after time since the economy soured, Governor Bev Perdue would come to town to make a jobs announcement. And the source of those jobs would sparkle on the chamber's wall like a gift to the community. But those companies, they also get gifts to come here.
Let's give it up for Capgemini.
Just a couple of weeks ago, Perdue managed to lure this gem all the way from Paris, and she convinced them to hire their entire workforce locally.
When we're fully staffed, we will be at 550 people.
But Capgemini exec Roy Stansbury bluntly told me the deal wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for the generous incentive package provided by Perdue and her team. Examples like this are the governor's best defense against her Republican critics. The state's new GOP majority wants to stop the spending spree on jobs as both sides try to fill a $3.7 billion budget hole. Perdue has already proposed cutting $400 million by shaving down agency budgets, but Republicans think they can double that number by chopping away at state accounts as well. Perdue's camp says that would essentially close the bank on job recruitment. We've seen the battle brewing, and I've asked the governor about it before.
The leaders need to call a kind of truce on what's become a bit of an incentive war.
I've said all along that if I can get 49 other governors to sign with me a ban, we'll all go into hiatus on incentives, I would do it.
Obviously, that didn't happen. You know, Governor Perdue has told me repeatedly that she hates giving incentives, but she also calls them a necessary evil in order to get the state what it needs most, jobs. Now, the GOP is arguing that job recruitment is still possible, even if they take away the governor's credit card for recruiting. But Perdue's team says that corporations are already getting an earful and that they're not happy. Live in Charlotte, I'm Melissa Hankins, WBTV, on your side.
All right, Melissa, thank you. And the North Carolina Senate today gave tentative approval to a bill that allows for $800 million in spending cuts to help close the budget gap. Those cuts include $75 million in corporate incentives. The measure approved along party lines. A final Senate vote could happen on Monday.
WBTV on your side with a winter storm alert. It could get nasty tonight for our neighbors to the north and maybe even for those of us here in Charlotte. A freezing rain advisory is in effect for some of our local counties, and our First Alert team is on top of it.
Eric Thomas, we need the rain. We don't need the freeze.
Absolutely, Paul. And that freezing rain advisory, as Maureen and Paul just showed you, extends as far south as Catawba, Iredell, Rowan County. So basically right along the I-40 corridor. Now, the headlines, of course, that's going to lead it all off with that freezing rain advisory going into effect tonight and remaining in effect for a large part of that area through much of the day tomorrow. But boy, the rain is needed. We just don't want to see the freezing rain, maybe a milder weekend coming in behind it. But already a lot of returns on the radar, but the atmosphere is still very dry at the moment. So no, we're not seeing a lot reaching the ground just yet. But look at that wintry mix back across Dixie. And that's what we are going to have to contend with for the overnight hours and through some of the day, at least tomorrow. For now, all right, with rain approaching 38 at 7, 37 by 9, temperatures falling slowly. We're still above freezing here in Charlotte. 36 by 11. We'll let you know how much more things deteriorate coming up in your First Alert forecast.
Eric, thank you. The stepmother of 10-year-old Zara Baker has been married at least 7 times. That includes one stretch when she was married to 3 men all at the same time. Elisa Baker had several overlapping marriages starting in the 1990s. She's still technically married to 2 men, her 5th husband, who never sought a divorce, as well as Zara's dad, Adam Baker. You see him there. For that, Elisa Baker is charged with bigamy. And as we told you last night, if prosecutors want to keep Zara's stepmother locked up, they may need to file new charges quickly. Right now, Elisa Baker is charged with just a handful of petty crimes. And even if she's found guilty, her longest jail sentence would likely be just a few months. That means she could be set free, credited with time served. Remember, even though police say she led them to Zara's dismembered body, she's never been charged with murder. In fact, no one has. For more on this case and Elisa Baker's past, including a look at those past marriage certificates, visit our website, WBTV.com.
A little boy in critical condition tonight, and 22 family pets dead after flames tore through an East Charlotte home. Looking at the pictures, it's amazing anyone survived. Flames shot through the roof. The house on Springfield Drive went up about 5:30 this morning. A mother, father, 13-year-old boy somehow managed to make it out, but the youngest member of the family got trapped inside. Firefighters were able to rescue 11-year-old Kevin Boardman from the 2nd floor.
They had to actually break the windows and get on ladders, and they pulled him out, but he wasn't moving. It's kind of upsetting. I had never seen a fire like that before, and, I just hope that Kevin's okay.
The entire family was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. 9 dogs, 13 cats, all dead.
New at 6, the plan to expand this landfill in Lancaster County is dead. A new county ordinance prohibits landfills from being within a mile of a home. That would make the expansion of this dump on Mining Road illegal. Because of that, the property owner has withdrawn the application.
Up next at 6 o'clock. The First 48 takes you behind the crime tape, an inside look at the police investigation.
Tonight, a Charlotte judge decides whether this footage is evidence in a local murder case.
I hope it does some good. I'd hate to think it didn't.
This woman has given more of herself than most people can even imagine. 21 gallons, in fact. I'm Kristen Hampton. The good news is coming up.
11 days until Valentine's, but don't buy those roses for your sweetheart just yet. Watch our 11 o'clock news tonight. First, consumer reporter Kristen Miranda put 5 dozen roses to the test to see which would last the longest and whether you're really getting what you pay for. She ordered from all kinds of places, all types of prices, and she asked an expert to weigh in.
Could you look at all of these different bouquets and say, I know which one costs the most? Exactly.
We're saving you money on roses tonight. WBTV News at 11.